It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. You're live with Expresso. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining the gents for a chat about Formula One heading into its sixth race of a bumper season. In fact, an extended season, but this is a big one. Monaco Grand Prix this weekend. The race in Monaco is always something special. Stunning location, obviously, the rich and famous, fantastic fans, and all the glitz and glam and some pretty tight corners. Now, at this track, the Formula One cars make their way around the narrowed streets of the glamorous Principality. In Monaco, there is little room for error, and drivers find it difficult to overtake, and the slightest mistake has proven to be very costly. To help us prepare for the race on Sunday, that's starting to sound like the final episode of Game of Thrones. It's Formula One expert, Motor Journal, petrolhead, Ciro di Siena. Now, this should be far more exciting than the finale of Game of Thrones.
It'll be better scripted.
But no, I love that you liken it to that, because a lot of casual fans are like, you know, why are we watching this? It's not really working out.
Is this even
Mercedes
Game of Thrones?
is just dominating too much right now, ahead of the season or in the season. So why are we watching? But take us through what you make of Monaco and how that might turn out, because it hasn't been Mercedes' favorite track.
I am so tempted to make more Game of Thrones metaphors. Like Mercedes is the Night King. You know, like, what are they going to do to beat it?
Winter is coming, I promise.
So, Monaco, you know, been on the calendar since 1955. Definitely the most glamorous race. But generally, if you're in front from pole, you win. There's almost nowhere to overtake. So it's very much going to be about who's the pole sitter. And Mercedes-Benz was fastest in free practice yesterday. Hamilton was actually faster than Bottas in qualifying for one of the first times this year. So Hamilton also having a little bit of a difficult weekend because he was extremely close to Niki Lauda. It's incredible that he's actually on pole, and you can just see how much the guy's able to focus when the time really counts.
Yeah, or maybe channeling that energy, because obviously that was a big part of his Mercedes journey, was Niki Lauda. But how much of a void is that? I know, for those who haven't watched Rush, the movie, which is just, it's amazing that rivalry existing at that time. But how much of a void is this? Why is there so much fanfare around Niki Lauda's life and passing?
Niki Lauda was a living icon. You know, he won 2 world championships with Ferrari. Then he had, in the middle of those championships, he had a horrendous accident which nearly killed him and which left him disfigured for life. And you can actually see the 3rd-degree burns on his ears and the side of his face.
The sparring was really, really hectic.
Yeah, and then he came back 7 years later, won another championship with McLaren. So the guy is literally a living legend, and he worked right until the end. He was the non-executive chairman of the Mercedes-Benz team, and he was instrumental in convincing Hamilton to come across to Mercedes-Benz, and look how well that's worked out. So Hamilton put out a tweet after Niki Lauda died, and literally it'll make you cry. Don't read it unless if you're feeling a
Thanks
little bit
for the warning, man.
Yeah.
So no, they were extremely close, and I think Niki Lauda's impact on the sport is going to be felt forever. Really, you know, he was not only a great racing driver, he was technically brilliant. He helped set up those cars as well as race them. So incredible mind, incredible personality, there for everyone on the grid. Everyone was friends with him, and he's gone, and it is particularly sad.
And I've got to say, it's great to see this side of the sport as well, the softer side, the more human side, where you know, these superstars of sport can take a back seat and then pay tribute to those that inspired them, the likes of Niki Lauda. But back again now to the Monaco Grand Prix, of course, as it stands right now, as I said, Mercedes still leading the championship. So how does Formula One as a sport change what's happening right now? Does Mercedes just have this hectic competitive edge that will last and reign forever? Or is there a way of reviving the sport again so that it does gain the fandom of the casual watchers that don't really understand Formula One to that extreme?
You know, Formula One's had this problem before, right? In the 80s, it was McLaren. In the 90s, it was Ferrari.
Every decade, one person gets their, one team gets their turn,
2011 to 2013, Vettel in the Red Bull. So the sport has survived this kind of domination before by one team. I think what's happening here is the other teams are lacking technically. I think the drivers are extremely close. So this year, it's going to be a story of who's behind these cars, the engineers sitting mostly in the UK, funnily enough, where most of these cars are designed and built, and how can they catch Mercedes-Benz? What do they need to change on the car technically to catch it? So if you're into the very technical, nerdy side of Formula One, this is going to be a fantastic season. But if you're a casual observer, and you're just seeing the same guys on the podium every single week, week after week, then this is not going to be the most exciting year for you. And I think they are going to lose some of the more dedicated fans, perhaps. But Liberty Media, the new owners of F1, are doing such a great job of attracting new fans. Which is
But
great.
they've gone
Yeah.
digital. They've taken to social media. They've opened up that. I just would love to see a bit of an upset to see Charles Leclerc win on his home ground.
Yes.
We still haven't figured out if you're from Monaco, you're in Monegalese, Monegasque.
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 You're a monarch. You're a monarch.
But I think a lot of Ferrari fans would love that as well. Just those long Mercedes, maybe that'll just help them just a little bit. Just toy it in
By the
the
way,
corners.
are we getting a track in Cape Town? Is that going to happen?
So,
that we can watch from a yacht.
so Liberty Media and Bernie Eccleston have both said recently
So, yes.
publicly in
Yes.
the press that they want a South African Grand Prix. And I have a feeling it's going to be Kyle Lamy.
It's earned the right. Well, that's how we are feeling about Formula One. You can let us know. Are you a Ferrari fan crying every weekend? We'd love to hear from you.